Strong, that's what they call us. Africans, women, survivors. But nobody ever asks what it cost us to become strong. We were taught to endure, to be silent, to smile through pain, to call suffering culture, and silence respect. So we learned how to survive, but never to feel. And when you don't feel, your wounds don't heal. This series is about the pain behind the strength, the trauma behind the smile, the scars behind the success. Here, we name what was never named. We feel what was never allowed. We heal what was never protected. Because confidence doesn't come from pretending, it comes from healing. Welcome to Strong But Scarred, where African stories find their voice and the broken places become powerful again. And your host, Omolola Adeya. Do you remember the first time you felt you were not enough? Not because you failed, but because someone said something. Maybe it was, "Why can't you be like your brother? You're too slow. You talk too much. You will never amount to anything. Children should be seen and not heard. You grew up. You got older. You became successful. You learned to function. But something inside you still flinches when you're corrected, compared, or rejected." Today we're talking about words that did not leave bruises, but left scars. In many African homes, discipline was necessary. Our parents did the best they knew, but intention does not erase impact. Because a child does not interpret words logically, a child interprets words personally. Adults hear correction, children hear identity. So, what was meant to guide sometimes became a wound. Let's take a look at what childhood trauma really is. Childhood trauma is not only beating or abandonment. Sometimes it is constant comparison, harsh words spoken in anger, emotional absence, affection only when you perform, praise only when you achieve. The child learns, "I am loved when I succeed. I am safe when I am quiet. I am accepted when I am useful." So the child adapts, not because they are weak, but because they need belonging. So how does a child cope? He begins to survive. One becomes a people pleaser, another an overachiever. Another becomes the silent one. Another becomes the rebellious one. Different behaviors, same message inside. And what is that message? I must earn love. The tragedy is, the child never realizes they were already worthy. How do these things follow us into adulthood? Now you are grown, afraid to speak up at work, over-explaining yourself, apologizing for existing, afraid of disappointing people, exhausted from trying to be perfect. Why? Because you're not reacting to today. You are reacting to a classroom, a dining table, a living room from years ago. Your adult life is negotiating a childhood you never healed. The invisible beliefs were formed. The words became beliefs, that is, internalized messages like, I am not good enough. I must not fail. I must not upset people. I cannot rest. I must always prove myself. And you carry those beliefs into your relationships, your marriage, your career, your parenting, not knowing you were living from a wound. How does the healing begin? Here's the gentle truth. You are not dramatic. You are not too sensitive. You were a child trying to understand the powerful voices. Healing begins when you stop arguing with your pain and start listening to it. That little child inside you is not asking for blame. They are asking for acknowledgement. Sometimes healing begins with one sentence. What happened to me mattered. Have you heard about reparenting? That is what you must do now. You may never hear the apology you deserved. I never did. But you can give yourself what you were denied. Kindness, patience, permission to rest, permission to feel, permission to be imperfect. You're now allowed to speak gently to yourself, because the voice you heard growing up became the voice in your head. And today, you can change it. In closing, if this episode touched something deep inside you, that is not weakness. That is recognition. You are not broken. You adapted. But you don't have to live the rest of your life surviving a childhood that is already over. This is strong but scarred, and healing has already begun. Before I sign out, kindly do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel so that this message can reach as many as need to hear it. I'll see you in the next episode.